The self can be defined as our sense of individuality, characteristics, motivations, and actions. Our sense of these things. But what about your sense of my individuality, personal characteristics, motivations, and actions? Does that matter to our sense of self? Today, we're going to be talking about bringing yourself into interactions. My name is Professor Bailey Benedict. Let's get started. When we interact, we need to consider all the people in the interaction, including who they are and what they know. And I'm going to argue that there are actually 6 people in every dyadic interaction, a dyad being 2. So in every 2-person conversation, there's actually 6 people. There's who you think you are. There's who you think the other person is. There's who you think the other person thinks you are. There's who the other person thinks they are. There's who the other person thinks you are. There's who the other person thinks you think they are. Ah! I'm going to bring in my mother's favorite cartoon characters to help us illustrate this. All right, Charlie and I are having a conversation. There's who I think I am. My lived experiences, my knowledge, my background. There's who I think Charlie Brown is. He's a nice guy, he's a cute guy, he's an elementary schooler, he's smart, he's got a lot of friends. There's who I think Charlie Brown thinks I am. He probably thinks I'm a weird professor. That's using him as an example. Okay, then there's who Charlie Brown thinks he is. He knows all of his lived experiences, his knowledge, his frame of reference. There's who Charlie Brown actually thinks I am. I don't know what his perception of me is. Then there's who Charlie Brown thinks I think he is. So what does he think I think about him? That's 6 people. Okay, now what if we bring in my mother's other friends? Lucy and Snoopy. The number of people in an interaction grows exponentially because there's who Charlie thinks Lucy is. There's who Charlie thinks Lucy thinks Charlie is. There's who Charlie thinks Snoopy Charlie is. There's who Charlie thinks Snoopy thinks Lucy is. No wonder our communication is complicated, and it gets more complex when we add more people into the mix. Our self-concept helps us define ourselves. Our self-concept is what we perceive ourselves to be and is based on how we see ourselves and how we think others see us. How we see ourselves is related to things like our self-esteem and our self-image. It involves that internal monologue, the conversations about ourselves that we have about ourselves, the self-comparison that we do when we evaluate ourselves in relation to other people, especially our peers. And then we have how other people see us, how we think they see us. That's our looking glass self. This was a concept forwarded by Charles Horton Cooley in 1902. So this idea has been around for a while. And it's that we have a tendency to understand ourselves through the perceptions others might hold of us. So we understand who we are through what we think other people think about us. If I walk into a room and I immediately notice that I'm not dressed right and I start to think about, what might these other people be thinking about the fact that I'm not dressed right, I'm starting to understand who I am in this interaction based on how I think they're seeing me. The process looks like this. We imagine how we must appear to others in a social situation, and we imagine and react to what we feel their judgment of us must be, and it's not just surface level appearance. We develop our sense of selves then and respond through these perceived judgments of others. As a result, we might change our behaviors based on what we think others feel about us. In that way, our social interaction acts as a mirror or a looking glass, since our self is based on what others see in us. I walk into that room, I'm not dressed right, I immediately shrink myself, I don't get as involved in the conversation, I try to make sure everything I say will be respected and will make me fit in more and not less. I am becoming in that interaction who I think other people think I am. The looking glass self involves forming our sense of self through how others see us. As a student, you might understand yourself through what you think your teachers think of you. There's what your school board or your university might think of you. There's what you think your coach might think of you, what your friends might think of you, what your mom might think of you. Here's another example. When I go home for the holidays, I immediately often revert back to a more childish version of myself because I'm around my parents, who I am their child. It's, Mom, can you fill up my water glass? And it's, Dad, can you make me some noodles? Or when I was around my grandma and grandpa who thought I was an angel, I told more examples of me being an angel, and I maybe acted a bit more like an angel. When I'm around my sister who thinks I'm kind of weird, I probably get even more weird. So we're forming our sense of selves and interacting with other people people through the lens of how we think they see us and in response to how we think they see us. The looking glass self relates to the Johari window model. It's an interesting framework for understanding our sense of self and how we present that self. It came from Joseph Luft and Harry Ingham in 1955. I love it because they used parts of their name to make the Johari name, Johari window. It's an exercise for self-help and is often used in corporate groups for identifying these dimensions of ourself. We have what's known to ourself and what's known to other people. Those are things in our open area or arena. Just based on watching this video about me, you know I have brown hair. You know I'm a teacher. You know, again, probably kind of weird. There are things that are not known to me, but are known to you about me. That's my blind spot. So, for instance, I could have a stain on my shirt or something in my teeth. That's a blind spot, a physical blind spot. But there can also be things that you know about me that I don't know about myself. So maybe I'm actually not good at explaining these concepts. Or maybe it's that my voice is like nails on a chalkboard to you. Then we have things that are known to me but are not known to you. That's the hidden area or facade. It could be how I'm actually feeling today, even though I have a positive demeanor, I could be feeling kind of crummy. And we also have areas that are not known to self and also not known to others. That's considered our unknown. And both we and other people can do things to try to reduce this unknown area. How this model is used in practice is we pick adjectives about ourselves from a long list. And we say, yes, idealistic, no, not so independent, not so ingenious, yes, intelligent, not so introverted, yes, I'm kind and knowledgeable, sometimes not logical. Then we ask other people, like our coworkers, to fill out the same list of adjectives about us. So do they think we're idealistic, independent, ingenious, or not? And then we compare those adjectives and place them in the Johari window. If you and I both say that I'm knowledgeable, we put that in the open area. If you say that I'm patient, but I really don't think I'm all that patient, that's my blind spot. If I say I'm trustworthy and you didn't say that about me because you really don't know me that well yet, that's in the hidden area or facade. Then if we can't figure out whether or not we are or aren't, that goes in the unknown. Here's an example of what the Johari window model looks like based on my dimensions of self. Things that are known to me and known to a lot of others are I present myself as feminine, I'm vegetarian, smart, or at least have a Ph.D, I'm friendly, understanding, kind of goofy. Those are things in my open, public, or arena. Those are different names for that quadrant. There are things that I know about myself that I don't think others know about me yet. It could be stuff from my past, hidden talents, insecurities, deep dark secrets. That's in my masked, my strategic sharing, or my facade quadrant. Then we have things that are not known to me, but are known to others. We are unaware, ignorant, or blind to the things in these spots. As instructors, we don't know how the semester went for you, so we're trying to reduce that blind spot by asking. Also, my sister once told me, you know, you have a stink face when you disagree with someone, you scrunch up your nose like something stinks. No, I didn't know I have a stink face, but thank you for telling me. She moved that knowledge from my blind spot to the open area. And then there are things that are in our mystery, unconscious, or unknown quadrant. Things like, am I artistic or not? Am I good at martial arts? Will I get tenure and be promoted? Using this window helps us figure out better how we understand ourselves, how other people might understand us, and then can help us communicate with them better. And the Johari window changes over the course of our relationship. The first day at a new job, your open area is pretty small because you just started this job. You don't know if you're good at it. They don't know if you're good at it. They don't even know really anything about you besides maybe your name and what you did before you came. On the other hand, because you're so new, your unknown quadrant is quite large. You also know quite a bit about yourself that others might not know about you. You know your knowledge and experience in this area, and they might not be familiar yet. When it comes to your 6-month review, your quadrant might look a lot different. The open area or arena might be a lot larger. Over the course of getting to know people and showing them your work habits and ethic, they figure out who you are. As you've been employed, you've been asking for feedback, and that can reduce your blind spot. You've been disclosing information about yourself and giving feedback to others. That also increases your open area or arena. I encourage you to think about a certain context in your own life, for instance, at work, and think about what your quadrant looks like. How big is your open area? What information is in there? Same with blind spot, hidden area, and unknown. Could you maybe ask for more feedback to reduce your blind spot so you know how you're doing doing at work and what you could be doing to be doing it better? Or could you disclose information about yourself or give feedback to others to strengthen your relationship with them or to improve the way that they manage you or that you manage them? How can we use the Johari window to better understand people and organizations? How can we use the looking glass self to better understand people and organizations? And how can we use both of these things to better manage our impression of ourselves and our communication with other people? Remember, all of this is exponential. So not only do we have ourselves and our understandings of other people, with the Johari window, all of these guys need to put their assessment of my adjectives into the Johari window to figure out what truly is in the open area at work or what is truly unknown.